Hi, this is Greta. This video focuses on assigning documents for students to complete. Our first example is a Word document, a Microsoft Word document. On the teacher end in Google Classroom, the teacher attached this Microsoft Word document to the assignment and selected the Make a Copy for Each Student option. I'm in Google Classroom as a student. When I go to the attachment and open up a Word document on a Chromebook, I'm most likely going to end up on a screen that looks like this. And for students, it's an extra step. So they have to go to Open With and Google Docs before they can make changes. I can type and edit. It's a little slower sometimes than Google Docs, and this is a little bit more complicated for students because we've already had to go Open With and pick Google Docs. The other thing that happens is it's pretty slow to save, and you have to wait for it to save. And to see your changes in Google Classroom, you'll notice they're not showing up here. I would have to go back. I would have to refresh. And then if I go back to my attachment, my changes might show up, or it's possible that sometimes it comes up blank and the student knows they've done their work, but the changes aren't appearing for the teacher to see in Google Classroom. You can see where I typed private isn't showing up. I've also found that in Google Classroom, they'll end up with several different versions of the same document. So they can find their work in Google Drive where they completed it, but getting it turned into you can be a little bit challenging. Our second example works a little more easily for the students. It's a little better example of an assignment here, and that's a Google Doc example. So as the teacher, I could select everything on the Word document, open up a Google Doc and paste it in. Sometimes you'll lose formatting, but I've found that way seems to work best. And I've attached that as a Google document for a student to complete as a make a copy assignment. Make a copy for each student assignment. So now when the student goes into the Google Doc, I'll close out these other tabs to get them out of the way. It's going to be a little bit easier for them to complete and a little better for you because you can skip the drama of I did my work, but you can't see it. I'm just going to pop a couple of answers in here. Now notice these blanks that you make by holding down Shift and holding the dash to get these underscores to make the blanks. When I type in the middle of them, it is really just typing in the middle of a blank. It's not putting my word on top of the blank. That's why I'm going through here and highlighting these to type my answer. And then if a student really wanted to be a good citizen, they could come back and highlight their answer and underline it to make it easier for you to see. Now, what makes Google Docs work so nicely for this kind of assignment is when I go back to Google Docs and I look right at the original attachment, all my work is going to show up. I'm not going to worry that sometimes it shows up as blank, but I really did it. I'm not going to have multiple versions of the same thing in my Google Drive. It makes it a lot easier for me to do. I'm going to switch over to the teacher side for example 3. For our third example, we're going to look at some things you can do to make a Google Doc work best for a digital assignment. Now, this is a digital assignment, and it's going to be a make a copy for each student assignment. And we know that when we make a copy for each student, it's going to put the student's name at the top, right in front of the name of the document. So I don't even need name at the top of this document at all anymore because Google's going to take care of that for me. So I'm going to just backspace that off of there. And I'm not going to ask a student to put their name on the doc itself. All right, now let's look at our first little section. We've got 3 fill in the blank items for students to answer. And we've already said that when you do these underscores like this, you make these blanks, when students type, it just types in the middle of the blank. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. And I have 3 items here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a table with 3 rows and 2 columns. Now, the first column is going to be the prompt, and the second column is going to be for the students' answers. I'm going to pop my prompts into the table, and I tell you what, let's take the bullets off because we don't really need them since they're going to be in their own rows. There we go. Sorry guys, my mouse is sticking a little bit. So I'm just cutting and pasting these prompts into the rows. Right, now to make it easy on me as a teacher, I am going to highlight the answer column. And you don't have to do this. This is sort of a little extra step, but I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to find my paint bucket, which sometimes hides under these 3 dots. Other times you'll see the paint bucket actually on the toolbar. And I'm going to choose a very light color so it's easy on my eyes. And when I work with students, I make sure that they know my expectation is to find the blue box. You're always going to put your answer in the blue box. And I'm going to add that to the document. Okay, so for a student, when they open this up, they would type their answer over here on this side. As a teacher, when I go through this document and check it, then I can scan through the documents and just look for the blue boxes. Okay, so that's one way you could optimize this document for a digital assignment. Another way you could do it is underneath each prompt, you could insert a 1 row, 1 column table. And this works really well if you are doing like a paragraph response or an essay response. Bear with me. I'm going to take the bullets off first. All right, so to get that 1 row, 1 column table, again, that was insert, table, and just one little box, one by one. Okay, what am I going to do to make it easy for me to find it later and to fit with that student expectation? I'm going to use my paint bucket and make it blue. Again, that's an extra step you don't have to do. But you can see you would have your prompt or your question, and then underneath students would type in this blue box. Now, you don't have to make these really big. Like I wouldn't hit enter a bunch of times because when a student types their answer, if their answer is bigger than the box, as they type, the box is just going to continue to grow for them. Okay, so adding these tables with these blue boxes, giving students a place to answer, that's one way to optimize your document for students. If you'd like to ask students to label an image in your document, instead of pasting the image in or inserting it using the image option, you're going to take an extra step and go to Insert Drawing and New. And this is where you would paste in your image. Okay, I've already done this one. For a student to label this image, and you can see I've asked them to circle the indicators, they'll need to double click on it. And when they do, it will open back up in drawing, and they have shapes up here at the top. They can add text boxes, and we've asked them in this case to circle something. So I'm going to come down here and circle something. Okay, and I can't see in the middle, so see the paint bucket? I'm going to click that and do transparent. So now my student has added a circle. We can click Save and Close, and you'll see their circle. Probably should have chosen a color other than black just so it would show up a little better, but hopefully you get the idea. And I can do that by going to the line color. I can even change the line thickness to make it stand out a little more, right? Now, drawing in these shapes and drawing in text boxes can be a little bit frustrating. I would use these kinds of items sparingly on your assignments.